when you're watching games like this, I feel my eyes always drawn to Mary because she's actually such an exciting player to watch. And going back to the stat you just talked about before about possession, again, I've become an expert in the last 3 weeks, so I'll let you an expert, so I'll let you fill in the gaps. But to me, it showed that there's a massive dynamism to the Matildas game. You know, it was a very different game to the last one against Canada. It was obvious that they like having the ball and like having possession. This one, they had to be a little bit more defensive, as showed in the stats. So it showed that they are quite dynamic when they need to be. Is that fair, Lucy?
It's very fair, Laura. Great observation. And you're absolutely right, because against Nigeria, reflecting on that game, and I only go back to that game again because it was something that post that match we were entirely very, and rightfully so, very critical of, because the performance wasn't up to par. And I felt as though, from my perspective, we were trying to do things and force things when we weren't actually playing to our strength. And by comparison, when you look at the possession stats that we had against Nigeria, we had 65% of the ball and we still weren't able to come away with a victory. So ultimately what World Cup statistics will generally show you, and it's comparable also in men's World Cups, is that the teams that win aren't the ones that necessarily really are playing that beautiful style of football, maintaining dominance and possession throughout. It's about being smart. It's about being effective. And last night we were both of those things. I don't think it was necessarily pretty to watch at times. It wasn't champagne football like it was against Canada, because we are a side, because we're so effective in transition, we are a side that really love to play an opposition side like Canada, who also like to have the ball, so that when we win it further up the park, we can be just as deadly and devastating. But last night, Gustafsson corrected the mistakes that we made in the group stages, and we turned it right around and played to our strengths and really did it to our very best.
It's amazing. It must be so hard to be a coach, because you're right, Gustafsson, we were talking about just a couple of games ago that, you know, maybe his job was on the line. Now, as you know, the Matildas advance closer to the final, there's closer talk about canonisation rather than him losing his job, but we will see. You're only as good as your last game, I think.